Today talk about kayaking with your dog. So with this summer of social distancing, I have decided that it's time before, but I've never actually done it since I moved here to Oregon, even a great place to do kayak. So, but the trick was I wanted to make sure I could kayak safely with my dogs, or at least dogs with Lindy. So today Lindy and I today are going to talk about how to practice safe kayaking with your dog and how to do some uh, you don't want the first time for your dog to be in the boat to be with a little overwhelming for both you and the dog, especially if you're not a super skilled kayaker yet. So I've got my kayak out here. My kayak hasn't arrived yet because getting a kayak in this summer seems to be the unicorn. But we're going to practice with his so you can see some of the things that we do. And so the first thing we want to do is make comfortable getting in and out of the boat and being able to sit in it. With it being on the ground, it is going to have, but it's not going to be as bad as if you're in the water. So I'm going to take Lindy over there. We're going to do that. Hold on to the boat first to make sure that it doesn't get as much wiggle. And I actually put my foot under it a little bit. It also helps that Lindy is only about 37 pounds. Good. So we're going to reward any attempt on 1 foot in. Good girl. Good job. I actually wanted her to go on that a little bit better. Go. It's much easier for the dog to get in without a person in the boat. There we go. So I let my foot go off the movement. She got a little worried. So all of lots of cookies for going in and being in there. Letting her hang out, find those cookies. Going deep in there. And then I'm going to give her an out cue. Out. In. Okay, a little more comfortable this time. In. Those front 2 feet. Yay. Good. And I want her to sit in the boat. Control the boat if the dog is sitting. With this particular boat, her not with her paws out. Paws in and get her to sit up a little bit. Sit. So this boat doesn't quite have enough room for her as much as my boat will. Size is important if you're going to work with your dog in the kayak. You need for your dog to fit in the boat. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun for either one, unless you want to go for like a 2-minute paddle. Good girl. I actually am working with her coming in on the right side. I learned this past weekend that I am not strong enough to help her get into the boat. Left side. My left arm is not strong enough. So it's something I want to think about. Realize that until I was actually on the water and trying to get her in the boat. A way to understand to go around the boat. She's a really good swimmer. So there's water. I'm going to let go, and she's going to some wiggle. She's like, whoa, that's more wiggle than sometimes when we're even together. Around. In. Good girly. So treats with that. I'm going to let it go again. Right here, so the more it moves, I'm just going to counterbalance it. So a little bit of wiggle, but not a lot. I'm going to drop a couple more treats in so that I'm busy snuffling those while it wiggles. Yep. Good girl. And so they have to learn how to catch their balance, just like people do. To make sure that she knows how to get her balance back, how to be comfortable in the boat. They're loving being in this boat before we go out on the water. Good job. In. Right now, I'm not super concerned about what side she's coming out. That's not a concern. It's more just getting her comfortable. The other thing I want to make sure that my dog knows how to do is to turn in a tight space. Depending on how they get in the boat, you may need them to turn around. And this is hard. You can see her getting stuck. And she has her behavior, so she knows how to do this. But with this boat and the shape, it starts to be a little bit different. So I may need to turn it. So if she's sitting this way, turn her around. I may want to have her face lead and sit this way. All right. Since that's so much leg work, we're going to get. I was going to talk about. Hi, welcome back. We're going to talk about life jackets. So, oh, yay, good girl. Wait. So with life jackets, one of the things, excellent swimmer. She doesn't actually need the life jacket for swimming. If I want her to go out and swim, that's not our problem. My problem is getting her back in the boat. So with her life, I actually want to make sure there's a handle on it, and that's how I help her get out of the water and back into the boat. We want dogs are comfortable wearing their life jacket. Once again, before you end up on the water with your dog and they're not so sure about this, put the lure through the hole and let her come through. We're just going to let her hang out with it on. Now together. Pop. Good girl. Pop is our cue to come out. Sit. Wait. Nice job. We really want to make sure that getting that life jacket on and off is comfortable and that she's happy doing that. This life jacket is by Roughwear. I love this one. I feel like it gives it has a couple different adjustment straps. It also has a point here where you can actually clip their leash to, which is nice. So when we're going to and from the dock, I actually clip her leash to there. And it does have a place I'm actually going to do, because sometimes it's hard to see her as when we're in the water. Good. And then I'm going to have her work on getting this life jacket all clipped. One clip. All right, good. Yep. And then I'm going to make sure she's comfortable moving with that life jacket on, just by playing the get it game. Nothing fancy here. Just make sure she's super comfortable. Get it around the house and let them have fun with it on, making sure that they can sit with it on, because they're going to need to sit in the boat, laying down in the boat with it on. Good girl. Right. So there's her spin, and that is the behavior I'm going to need to get her to turn around, except I only need 180 degrees instead of 360. So I'm going to have to teach her a new cue for that. But you can see she can do all sorts of stuff with her life jacket on. It does not impede her once we get out into the water. Yeah, good girl. Get it. All right, so now we've got life jacket on. Got hopefully a couple more cookies. We do. So now we're going to go and work on going back in the kayak and with the life jacket on, because that's a little bit of a different feel, and it can get kind of caught on the edges. Make sure she's comfortable with that. This side. Good girl. So since we did such great conditioning before without the life jacket on, does not bother her. She's great. We've been working on a cue when she's out of the boat in the water. We've been working on a cue to have me help her get in. And helping pull her in. She's in the water. So getting her comfortable with the feeling of that pressure on the handle of the light is important too. Out. Good girl. So that's another skill you can just work on just a little pull and cookie. So she knows what that feels like. We're even going to pull up. Good girl. Up and cookie. Nice job. Up and cookie. Comfortable with that. So now she gets her treat out of the back of the boat that she can play with her de-slobber my hands. And we'll see if she wants to play. And I wanted to see if there's any questions has about kayaking with their dog. Obviously, it matters what size dog you have. The smaller the dog, the easier it is. But just with the smaller the dog does not mean that you can't put a life jacket on them. Things happen. Boats capsize, wildlife, things like that. You really need to make sure that everybody is safe, people and dogs included. I'm working also too with Lindy while we are out kayaking. She has a cue that means to leave the wildlife alone because we have come across toller. So ducks are very interesting for her. So she has a no bird cue, and we on me when we kayak. So when we see a bird or things like that, and I don't want her to jump out of the boat without being told to jump, so I go ahead and make sure to give her no bird cue, and then I reward her as we go past the duck. We actually saw a really big crane the other day take off and fly. We saw an eagle landing on the water fish. That was pretty awesome and very exciting for a dog. Then the other one that she was not with us the day that we saw otters, but that would have also, my no bird cue means basically don't go after wildlife outside of the boat. I would have used that same cue with the river otters also. Just so I am working on a don't jump out of the boat until told, so an out and in cue, because I'm stabilized and make sure that there's no other motorboats, things like that around us if she's going to go for a little bit. So I have to really make sure that we're doing that with control and safety in mind. Hi, Diane. Oh, and Melissa, Laura, Janet. Hi, everybody. So Diane asked, I came in, is that a double kayak or does she sit in with you? That actually is it's a pretty small single kayak. This is my son's. Can fit her in there with him. I personally am getting a different kayak. I am getting a brand called a Her, which is designed with a very, very large cockpit. They really promote to have space for a dog or a small child to be sitting in front of you. So I went and splurged a little bit on one that would be really great for Lindy and I because I know it's a one-time purchase and I tend not to have large dogs, so I don't have too much space for my dogs. I don't have a Labrador or anything big like that fit in my kayak with me. And she can fit in there with me. I did try her. It's just really snug. And so I went ahead and got a different kayak. I did not kayak because for me, getting it in and out of the water is too challenging. So it's just too much boat for me to handle by myself. But Diane. So I want to thank everybody for coming and learning a little bit about what Lindy and I have been doing out here in Portland, Oregon. And if you have any other questions or thoughts about kayaking with you, see them in the comments. Please join us again on Thursday. Our other trainer, Lorena, will be doing a Facebook Live that day. Not sure what about yet, so stay tuned. And we look forward to seeing you all in the future.